All right then, everyone. Hello and welcome to a bright, if not slightly overcast day in Italy, in Emilia-Romagna for the Imola Grand Prix of Season 10. We have 8 races to go of the season, including this one, and the championship is tightening up every single week. 4 teams within 20 points of each other at the top of the Constructors' Championship. It is now very much a three-way fight for the driver standings as well, after Matty Adam 98's incredible win last week out in Baku for the Mystery Grand Prix, which saw a strategic master plan in changeable conditions from wet to dry and back to wet once again. Matty handled that better than anyone. He is also saying there is a small chance of rain in the race, however unlikely it may be, so we'll wait and see to what the weather will be for the Grand Prix. Before the qualifying session looks very dry indeed. The fastest laps are going to be sent to dry even if it does rain later, because it is not raining now. So then cars coming out on to the circuit. ABT shortly following Noah 48 out on track then. Looking behind, we have a Ferrari, we have an Aston Martin, an Alpine, and a Sauber. Matty Adam 98, current race winner then this season. He extends his streak of race winning seasons, which really was a result in the making over the last couple of weeks as well. The driver has massively increased his qualifying performance. He's been up there in the races every single week now for the last month or two. So Matty is one to watch for the second half of the season. Something has just clicked for him that didn't really click at the beginning of the season, apart from maybe Saudi Arabia, where he will still feel he was robbed of a victory, and maybe rightly so as well. As fell by Jamar Jr. then, currently back in the Ferrari, having missed a couple of races out of the last few weeks. He is hoping to have a strong result because Ferrari desperately need those points. Mercedes with a good show in P3, P4 last week for Tess and Iwas has just built a little bit of an edge in the Constructors' Championship, but it is so tight it's going to switch week to week. Luna being the single Sauber driver this week as well. Sam Marino is currently away. Hopefully he'll be back within not too long, but we are aware of what is going on. He will be back later on in the season, so don't worry. Luna right now is going to have to hold the fort on her own in that Sauber, who is doing the best job a Sauber has ever done in an NEF1 potentially at the end of the season. We'll do a little post-season debrief to see just how good a season everyone has had. But Luna at the moment is having a very, very good season indeed. Good for points, good for results. Here we go then, through Tamburello, the Tamburello chicane now, and on to that second very fast left-right-handed. So easy to get this wrong. It's almost flat through the left-handed before you break and downshift a couple of times for the right-handed. Down to third gear for this long left-handed hairpin. It's uphill hard on traction. Luna actually switches down another gear and just get that extra dive out of the corner, but will compromise traction somewhat, and then just sling the car into this sweeping left-hander and down into what I believe is Aqua Minerale, if I'm not mistaken. Got an Alpine ahead who does a good job of getting out of the way, and down into the chicane. Noah's done a 1:15.645. We're expecting a pole lap of about a 14.5, 14.6, somewhere along those lines. Squidge 2017 has been looking good around here, so is Tess and Matt, and we're expecting it to come down between those 3 drivers, but we've had a couple of surprises in qualifying and the races over the course of the last season. Matty 14.7 to start qualifying then, and Luna 16 flat goes third fastest. That's a good lap from Matty. Tess is out on circuit. What is he going to be able to do? We have Darren out on circuit as well in his McLaren. So then Tess heading into the final couple of corners that I completely forgot the name of. I seem to recall them being a little bit weird, the names of these 2 corners. And onto the back straight then for what is going to be Tess's first attempt. Is it going to be P1? It's a little bit shy by about 5 tenths of a second, 4 tenths of a second to, oh yeah, 4 tenths to be exact. Tess on a 15.2 under check on a 14.9. And where is our championship leader? He's heading down to the final couple of corners as we speak. in the Ferrari for the first home race out of 2 these next coming weeks. Squidge 2017 across the line, goes fastest by a tenth of a second. Squidge 2017, Ferrari's home Grand Prix, 14.667. It's a very, very quick lap to begin this session as well. Ray running an Italian tribute helmet here in Imola. Nice red and green lid. Are we doing any more tribute helmets throughout this event? I believe we had a Ondracek who is running an S10 tribute helmet in that famous yellow and green as well. Love little tribute touch there. If anyone else is, please let me know and I'll have a gander at it. Squish 2017 then fastest after the first run. Ray is going to be looking to desperately improve on his 129 flat, but he should do so with relative ease. Darren Stahl, the only driver. Oh, that's a bit of a problem for Ray 25 then. Goes very, very deep into the second chicane, and that's going to be that run over. Darren, the only one slacking behind a little bit at the moment on a 17.779, about a second slower than Wigan, who's just 1/100th of a second slower than Macus. We are still waiting for Hybrid to come out on circuit as well, and it's Red Bull. Both Red Bulls having scored points in the last couple of races. Hybrid 1 point last week out, and Kit with his first points in NEF1 history was robbed by Matty for driver of the day as well, which I have to take credit for. I'm sorry Kit. Any other day, any other race, he would have been driver of the day, just not that race, unfortunately. Also, Kit sadly not racing here this evening after having a couple of technical issues with his wheel. We hope that those will be sorted out by the time we get to Monza next week out. So here we go, Darren then coming up to the final stretch of track. The final couple of corners, 2 left-handers, relatively difficult on track limits. It's very easy to go deep into that penultimate corner and just track extend a bit in the exit of the final one as well. But here comes Darren, he's going to improve. How much is it going to be by? It's going to be by a couple of tenths of a second still. Only P16 for Darren Stans. A McLaren outfit in desperate need of points. With a podium for Hybrid a couple of weeks ago, they have pulled away from the battle in P10 and now are sitting a comfortable 15 points ahead in the championship. That can now swing in 1 week with a good result for ABT or Darren, but it is crucial that they get that good result soon. Noah 48 then, hunting for time, heading on the run down to Aqua Minerale quite soon. Slinging the car into the left-hander as commitment. Very close to the track limit, manages to make that work. Now down to Aqua Minerale, flat for the first right-hander, down to third for the second one, straight on the power. That was nicely executed by Noah 48, and on to the chicane, improving by about a tenth and a half of a second. It's through that chicane we can really start to gain time. Matty's out on track as well. We'll follow that lap with interest very, very shortly, as Noah, I feel, is about to come up with about a 2 or 3/10 improvement as he comes across the line. Let's see, 15.6 turns into a 15.1, half a second's worth of improvement for Noah. Sees him just on the cusp of a teammate ahead of Tess in P4. So that's a good job from Noah. Improves a little bit up to P4, so that is a good lap. And Matty, that's not a good lap for Matty out in 1 bit, and that will ruin those tyres probably as well. Run over, you would imagine, for Matty, and that has compromised his session somewhat and will just tamper a little bit with your confidence heading on to the second run as well. And it's not the first time we're going to see that mistake throughout the course of this race, or this event, I should be saying. So here we go, man. Ondracek is in Tamburello at the moment. See what he's going to be able to deliver as we come into the 61 split in not too long. It's quick sectors around here. It's a very, very quick lap time as well. If we do have a dry race, it's not going to be too long of an event. 32 laps, just over half an hour worth of running. Ondracek improves by 2/10 of a second, and by that pace, he could be a threat for pole position. Have a Squidge improving by a tenth of his own for the first sector. So then down to the final two corners, so close to the track limits for the Ferrari there. Onto the back straight, and what is it going to be for Squidge now? Just has to nail the final upshift. He improves by 0.3 of a second up to 14.372. That has eclipsed my predicted pole position time, whereas Onracek has invalidated his lap. He'll have to go again. Matty, is he on another push lap? Yes, he is. Down to the corner where it all went wrong last time, and it goes wrong this time again. Just goes a little bit deep, exceeds the track limits, and that surely is that run over and done with. That tells me he's fueled a little bit higher for 2 laps if need be. It's not going to cost you too much time. Could be a nice little situation to be in if you do mess up the first run. Djokovic 15 flat then on his second attempt. It's a decent time to have, just ahead of Noah and ahead of Tess, who's on a flying lap. He's improving by more than half a second though. So watch Tess here. Now he's invalidated. So is he potentially pushing on to get into the pit lane as quick as he can to just get on a bit of an earlier run? Tess currently sitting down in P6 is not really where he's gonna want to be. He's just ahead of SFLY Jamer, who has won here in the past, so he's not going to be uncomfortable around this place. He was the man who many seasons ago now took a win away from Matty Adam 98 to stop what then was the longest winning streak in NEF1 history. That streak was only beaten a lot of seasons later by a certain Ondrejek, who's currently sitting in P3. So it took a long time for that streak to be beaten, but it eventually was here in Imola by SFLY Jamer Jr. That streak then being occupied then by Matty Adam 98 in his championship winning season back in season 2. Now he is in a championship fighting position again. Not a favorite, just a bit of an outlier, but he is in that conversation. Oh, and that's not a brilliant way to take that corner from Iwatts, I'm afraid, who goes very deep, and that is that lap over and done with, very much in the dust as an Alpine passes him. That'll be Ray 25, who goes quite slowly. I believe he's just on a in lap. Also on a lap at the moment, we have Wigging coming on to the final couple of corners. He's been improving by a couple of tenths of a second in second sector, so let's see what he's going to be able to cook up. Is he going to go up ahead of Mr. Wilco and Mac is to begin with? Yes, he does. 15.981, just shy of Iwatts and Holman, 13th and 12th. Decent time that from Wigan. Sees him a bit closer. That's a second and a half of the leaders of this season all the way down to 14. So it is close at the moment, especially within that top 10. So then everything calming down just a little bit. Holman is on a run down to the final couple of corners, so we're going to see another lap completed by him here. One podium so far this season, if I'm not mistaken, for Holman. So here we go, straight onto the back straight, yeah. Just coming straight into the pit lane. Darren Stahl, is he improving? No, I believe he's coming into the pit lane, which means we basically don't have anything going out on track. As I say that, I'm moving on to Hybrid, who's just come onto the track for what I believe is the first time this session. So say welcome to Imola Hybrid 472K. In that Red Bull then, is not desperate for points by any means, but want to start picking up points at a bit of a more rapid rate than they have over the course of the season. 20 points at the halfway mark, not bad, but only 2 points finishes for a Hybrid over the course of the season. Obviously 15 points coming in one single race in Austria. Very different track today then. Can Hybrid make anything of these conditions? Let's see. It's a solid run through Tamburello, heading into the sector 1 split in just a moment. What's going to be a 24.256 for Hybrid. Oh, and that's a wiggle on at the exit of the sweeping left-hander. That could be a little issue heading into Aqua Minerale potentially. How much grip is going to be in those soft tires? And has he already started wearing them out just a little bit? Wait and see. So then, 2 more corners to go, 1 braking zone before we get this lap done. Everyone inside the top 8 now out on circuit, 2 minutes to go. So this is where it's all going to go down. Hybrid has this 1 chance now. Maybe if he wants to cool down on this lap, he can. But Hybrid comes across P17. 1 lap might not have been enough here for Hybrid. P17, last row on the grid. Squidge is about to come across the line to start what could be the lap for pole position. We're going to keep an eye on this. On board with Squidge 2017. Noah is just ahead of him on track, I believe. He has gone through Tamburello and is heading into the Sector 1 split just now. What is it? Nah, he's coming across the line now. He goes for fastest. Sorry, I was on board. I was looking at the ghost of someone else. So Noah's improved to P4. That is most likely going to be all that we see from him this session. Squidge is improving by a 10th in Sector 1. So Squidge is looking mighty quick here. Into Aqua Minerale then, through the left-hander. Nice on track limits. Got cars ahead of him. Are they aware that he's there? Is the question. This might be the pole lap. Do not want to have that interrupted. Here we go then. Squidge 2017 might have actually gained just a little bit of a toe by the Sauber that I believe. And oh, that's track limits for Squidge 2017 through the chicane, and that is run over now. Can he be contested by anyone behind him? Ondrejek is improving, but is it by enough? I don't think it just is. Mr. Wilco has popped up in there with a 115 flat. That's a very good lap from Mr. Wilco. Ondrejek has exceeded track limits. He's out of this session. Djokovic is not improving. What is Tess going to be able to do? There's a lot of traffic here in Imola as everyone is trying to get the laps in at the last possible moment. Tess here comes across the line. Can he do a magical improvement to do anything about that P1 time? He gets close, but no, he can't. Matty Adam, he is improving, maybe just by enough to challenge for P1 as well. The Haas jumps out of the way ahead of him, and now Matty heading down to chicane, and he might be in contention here. He is improving by half a second. Could this be a pole position by Matty, capitalizing on a mistake from Squidge there, who just exceeded track limits a little bit? 2 corners to go for Matty. Needs to keep these clean. 1 corner to go. Sweet apex, sweet exit. It is going to be, I think I can confirm, pole position for Matty Adam 98 at the last possible time of asking, 14.1, and he has turned in to a master of qualifying this season. Squidge in P2, Tess in P3. Squidge is going to be fuming with himself after that mistake. Matty takes P1 by 2/10 of a second over Squidge, who takes P2 ahead of a Tess, 1/10 behind. Ondrejek in 5th, Mr. Wilco up into, Ondrejek in 4th, Mr. Wilco in 5th, Noah in 6th, Djokovic is 7th, Recon in 8th, Ray in 9th, and Jamar in 10th. In the battle for the constructors, crucially, Iwat down into 14th. Ray and Jamar now got to capitalize on this opportunity. Both the RBs solid in P4 and P6. So this is going to be interesting for a very, very decent Imola Grand Prix. Matty Adam takes pole position in Imola. So then Matty, with a lap out of nowhere, saw him take pole position away from Squidge 2017 after a minor mistake. Tess in third, Ondercheck in fourth, Mr. Wilco is in fifth, Noah in sixth, Djokovic in seventh, Recon in eighth, Ray in ninth, and Jamar 10th. Luna qualifies P11 in the end, Beat in 12th, Holman's 13th, Iwat's 14th, Wigan 15th place, Max is in 16th, Hybrid in 17th, and Darren is 18th fastest. S10, it is a absolute turn of form here for Matty Adam, who last season struggled profusely in qualifying. He had to make up a lot of ground every single race. Now he has ground to defend, which is ever so tricky in this league as well. DRS here is going to be powerful, but right now it is Matty on pole position. He is ahead of Squidge and Tess. The free championship antagonists are going to do battle here in Imola, and I am all looking forward to this one. We'll be back in a couple of minutes for full coverage of the Imola Grand Prix, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. 32 laps is coming up, so do not go anywhere. We'll be right with you. All right then, everyone, we are back. We are still a few minutes away from lights out here, but I was thinking we're going to go over the drivers and constructors standings before we give the ready up. And as you can see here on your screen ahead of you, we have Squidge on 165 points in P1, followed closely by Tess on 146, who has done some repair work to the damage inflicted a couple of weeks ago on his championship advantage. Matty on 134 points in third. Undercheck trailing by a couple of points. With a couple of good results, he could get up there. Then there's a big gap down to the best midfield battle we might have ever had in NEF1. 15 points between P5 and P11. Not too far to Mr. Wilco in 12 as well. As for the Constructors' Championship battle, as you can see in front of you, Mercedes lead from Alpine, Ferrari and Racing Bulls. But it is incredibly close between these four teams, and it could go down to the absolute final race with a four-way battle. The things ways are heading. It's only getting closer and closer, which is what we want to see. Looking down further, we have a tight battle between Haas and Sauber at the moment, trading places every now and again, with Aston Martin being involved in that battle as well. Williams and Red Bull slightly more dormant, with McLaren trailing. And then I can confirm that the ready up has been given. Will be going green in about 30 seconds. For the Imola Grand Prix, 32 laps worth of racing action around this very, very tight and twisty circuit. A high downforce circuit where overtaking still possible down into the first corner, into Tamburello. It's going to be very, very interesting, this. So then, as for strategies, let's have a gander to see what everyone is doing. Everyone apart from Jamar on the medium tyres. Not too interesting worth of a strategy battle for this race. Then we have one driver who's going to try to go long, try to do something different, but he has won here in the past. So, could that be a bit of knowledge he's carrying through? We'll wait and see. Everyone else then, standard medium tyres on. Safe and sound one stop predicted probably then. Medium to hard. Matty Adam in the lead from Squidge and Tess in P3. Ondracek is battling from 4th place, so he's going to be right up there. No qualifying slacks. He's right up there with the leader straight away. He cannot afford to get into any entanglements with Mr. Wilco, Noah or Tess on the opening laps. He needs to keep his head down and just maintain the gap to the cars ahead. Mr. Wilco in 5th has done a good job this season overall. He's gotten a couple of high points finishes. He's looking for another one here today. Noah looking for a second podium of the season, but it's very difficult to get onto that podium. Matty, Squidge, Tess and Ondracek ahead of him. He's going to have to outscore at least 2 of them to get onto the podium. Djokovic in 7th, followed by Recon in 8th, Ray in 9th, and Jamar have been disqualified for the information lap. It's in P10. Difficult race for everyone involved this, but it's going to be a very, very entertaining one indeed. So then heading down to the last couple of turns. Matty trying to get some temperature into those tires. There's a long run down into turn 1. Going to be crucial to get a good getaway. Squidge quite decent at that. So is Tess going to be with that slipstream down to turn 1, which could give you a couple of kilometers worth of now. A couple of kilometers an hour. Sorry, down this first straight. Could be the difference between 3rd and 1st. Predicted 2-stop strategy according to the game here. Medium, hard, hard could be quite interesting. Okay, if we have a 2-stopper, I'm all for it. Bright skies in Imola as Matty very much lines up his car, angled towards the outside. He wants to cover off the line of Squidge 2017 as aggressively as he can with Tess in P3. That is an angle from Matty Adam, but it kind of works because he's leaning towards that first bend. Here we go then. We have 5 red lights. and it's lights on, away we go, and Matty does get a decent getaway. So does Squidge in his Ferrari. Test just slightly slower, but now the slipstream is going to come into its effect. Squidge tries the inside of Matty, doesn't work. Matty covers the line off, and everything relatively civil through the first couple of corners. No major incidents through Tamburello, which is what we want to see. No one falling down in any big positions. Luna up 3 places, Wigan up 2, Iwatts up 2, but it's calm at the start. Matty holding on from Squidge and Tess Van Ondercheck, and Djokovic up 2 positions, up in the 5th place. Mr. Wilco, not the best of starts, down into 7th from 5th to start. And Djokovic now putting slight pressure on Ondercheck, heading down to Aqua Mineral, the first part ahead of Aqua Mineral, it should be said. Now just dropping back a little bit. But it's a hard opening lap here as Luna might be looking aggressive towards the inside of Mr. Wilco into the chicane. Surely not close enough. Have to think better of it and try again later. The DRS will be enabled in just a couple of corners then. Jamar down 2 positions on his hard tyres. To be expected, he's going to be able to go a little bit longer, but how hard? He's going to be getting those hard tyres up and going. Predicted 2-stop strategy for a couple of people, medium hard, instead of medium and double hard at the end. Matty comes through for the lead of the Grand Prix event. P1 for Matty, P2 for Squidge, P3 for Tess. 3/10 of a second is the gap, and is getting closer, but no DRS as of yet. But when that DRS is enabled, then we're going to have some overtaking for the lead. A BT's had a bad start, sorry, on that opening lap. He's down to 18th place. It's always a BT for some reason. Jamar now very close to the back of Iwatts, but he's not getting a good run through that corner, let me tell you that. And that's he's Wigan right on him. Could try around the outside into the sweeping left-hander, has to tuck in behind, but that was an opportunistic move, and a BT has found himself into a gravel trap, and we have a virtual safety car to just calm everything down a little bit, which I'm sure Matty at this stage will not mind. To nail this restart, Squidge just makes a little bit of a mistake. Matty could avoid the pressure of that first DRS straight. Well, I'm sure Matty wouldn't mind at the moment doing 32 laps behind the safety car to secure this result, but that isn't the name of the game, unfortunately. Here we go then, through the last couple of corners. We're not going green as of yet by the look of things. So no DRS on this second lap. We're going to have DRS on the third lap, as I wish it still was. Oh, here we go, then DRS enabled. Oh, and that's just unfair. Squidge then with DRS straight on the virtual safety car restart. Nothing Matty could have done about that one. And Squidge gained a lot of time through that VSE restart as well. Wow, that was noticeable. Yellow flags, then we have Luna off circuit at Tamburello. She's found the gravel trap in turn 1. And now we've got to get that car in shape. So then Squidge 4/10 ahead of Matty, heading on to the first lap with DRS now, and see what is going to be doable in that position. It's going to be a bit different this race, you would reckon. It's not going to be as easy to follow around here, but overtaking I don't think it's going to be necessarily difficult. Here we go then, 2/10 of a second between Squidge and Matty. Let's see just how noticeable the DRS is. So then Matty tucks into the slipstream. Yeah, you're not going to be able to defend around this race, let me tell you that. Matty flies through for P1. Okay, so this it might be one of them races where whomever's in P2 heading on to the last lap of the Grand Prix wins the race. But I'll wait and see. We won't judge before we've seen. Djokovic right now having a good start up to P5, as I previously mentioned. Just he nibs a tire onto the gravel trap, but he is hanging with this leading pack, and DRS with that amount of pace is going to be crucial. Noah's got to close up to that gap pretty quickly, because they're going to be breaking away, and he's going to be stuck in a battle with Mr. Wilco and Ray, because they're going to pass him, just seeing how strong DRS is here. Okay, so we're not going to pay too much attention to the battle at the front because it's just going to distract us for the entirety of this race, which is currently 3 tenths behind, heading into the penultimate corner, and he's going to come into the first corner about 3 tenths ahead. Doesn't matter what sort of a defense mat he puts up, unless he does something in line of what a certain George Russell tried to do on Valtteri Bottas, which would see him heavily penalised. So then keep your eye on the timing board as to see the absolute state of DRS and ERS on this game, and Squid just taking the lead by 3 tenths of a second heading into Tamburello. As for Mr. Wilco, not close enough to Noah to make a move, closing a little bit, but you do need that heavy slipstream coming out of the last corner to really think about a move, but Noah did lose a significant amount of time on that DRS straight by not having any. So I've spoken about NASCAR style racing a couple of times in this league previously, and I think this race is going to turn into kind of the same way, whereas you lose in NASCAR, if you lose the draft, then you are going to fall massively behind because everyone ahead is just going to be bump drafting off each other to just gain that little bit of extra speed. If you end up behind them, then you're going to be losing out. I think this race might be a bit of the same, where if you lose out on the DRS to the flock of cars ahead, you will be losing out time quite severely. So then Ray, Iwatts and Jamar, P8, P9 and P10, 4 points between these 3 cars. Ray at the moment with the advantage, but Jamar and Iwatts battling this one out. It's an extra point in the championship. Here we go then, is Matty's free pass switch for P1. So now let's see, is Iwatts going to be able to do anything about Jamar? No. Yeah, overtaking is... I'm sorry to break this to you, but it's not going to be an entertaining race in terms of side-by-side action, unless we have mistakes going through the second or third sector. But this is not going to be too interesting in terms of who can actually line up a defense. But it could get interesting when strategy comes into play. Recon is coming into play at the moment, down 3 positions on the start, but he is behind Iwas now, trying to recover. Max is also doing what he can, but he's 3.4 seconds behind that scrap. And as I said, that's going to be territory we probably lose time. We have the second 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. We're going to have a lot of those tonight. Okay, so now I'm a bit curious then. Matty's 5 tenths ahead of Squidge 2017 coming into the final corner. How much is that going to affect the DRS heading into the first corner? So half a second's worth of an advantage turns into an overtake about 500 meters before braking zone. Probably a little bit more. This is brilliant, lads. Absolutely fantastic racing from the pair of them. Side by side into the braking zone. Exciting stuff. Wheel locking everywhere. This is just what you want to see for one of the somewhat closing races of the season with the championship on the line. Thank God we didn't do this as his finale. I have a feeling that after this display we're not going to be seeing Imola back on the NEF1 calendar for this game cycle. I don't actually know if it'll be on next game. But if you're a fan of Imola, by what we're seeing now, I suggest you greet Imola farewell of the NEF1 calendar for a considerable amount of time. Mr. Wilco is on the back of Ray W25. Jamar is 3.9 seconds behind him, so it's costing time, this battling with Iwatts still. Mr. Wilco, Ray having good pace here. He's caught up significantly to Mr. Wilco, and now Noah. Okay, so this is now interesting. 6 tenths of a second is the gap between Squidge and Matty. And Matty is going to fly past the Ferrari about 300 meters before we get into the braking zone. As I do very much apologize if I sound like a sarcastic Jack. But I can't really be arsed with this type of racing now. It's not overly entertaining. But it is what it is. It'll only be 25 more laps. Okay, guys, let's hurry it along. I was into the pit lane for the first time this evening, and I think that's hard tyres going on the Mercedes. Is that hard tyres going onto the Mercedes? It's early for a stop towards the hard, but yes, it is. So I was pulling a little bit of an undercut, which I think could be a disadvantage around this track. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I believe an overcut for some reason could be a bit sharp. It definitely was when I did my career mode here a long time ago now. Just at the launch of the game, that would have been. Luna's recovered quite decently, actually, from her escapade into the gravel early on, I believe in lap 2 or 3. Might have even been earlier than that. So she's up to P12 right now, challenging Mac. Then there's not a long way to go up into points for Recon, as Tess has pulled the trigger on an early pit stop as well to try and undercut on the cars ahead. Try to put the pressure on Matty and Squidge. Hard tyres going onto the Mercedes. So is anyone in this current top 3 going to be bold and maybe do a medium to just try to do something a bit different? I hope we do see a bit of a difference in strategy, but I don't... It's a bit of a difficult... it's a bit of a difficult one in terms of strategy. The way things are, you'd probably just play it safe, bring home the points, and make the most of it next week when we go racing around Monza, which is probably going to be more of the same. But it's got a more difficult final corner, so let's just hope that offsets everyone just a little bit. And everyone is going to be running 0-0 wings there as well, so it could be a bit of difference. I might add on a bit of front wing for Monza, to be fair, just to make it through the chicanes and especially Ascari. But apart from that, it's going to be 0 on the rear wing, that's for sure. But everyone is now spreading out just a little bit, which might just be my worst nightmare for this Grand Prix as well. They don't even have any sort of overtaking, just have cars lapping behind each other. So this is going to give us an indicator. Djokovic into the pit lane. Where is Tess? He's currently sitting in P10. He's coming around the final couple of corners now. So where is Djokovic going to come out in comparison? Is an overcut or undercut going to work? It's a long pit lane. It's going to be close between them. I think Tess is just going to get him on the exit, though. Yeah, he does. So an undercut is proving effective at the moment because Djokovic has lost about 2 seconds on the exit there, and even more heading into Ascari. About 2.5 seconds probably when all is said and done. So an undercut here from Tess is effective. Now we know that. Matty and Squidge will also take note of that and realize they have now effectively been undercut by the Mercedes of Tess, and they will have to adjust accordingly. I also have news that Holman, who's currently racing as a goat, will not be back for the remainder of this Grand Prix, so feel free to discard him from the current race results as well. He's racing under air conditions, had to leave for personal reasons. Matty Adam then across the start-finish line, being very much overtaken by Squidge. It can't be entertaining racing for the drivers, this. It's just lapping, and then overtaking each other every single lap. It'll be interesting to see how many overtakes for the lead we have this Grand Prix, because I reckon right now we have about 10. Or 11 laps into this race. Mr. Wilco has made his way back up in P5. How is Tess getting along, closing up to Luna? Yeah, several times per corner is the answer to that question. So those hard tyres, seemingly a very, very good race tyre. Then the question is Squidge and Matty maybe trying to extend their mediums long enough to go for a one-stopper here? Could that be the idea, to just try to bring them onto lap 14 or 15 and then go on to a set of hards? It could be done. If you get into lap 14, then you could definitely do about 16 laps, 16, 18 laps on a set of hard tyres, providing we have no safety cars, which at the moment we've not been close to having one really. No real incidents, only a couple of escapades off track. Squidge and Matty both staying out. I think that one stop is nearing, or getting closer. So then, the track limit penalties are starting to rear their ugly head. Now let's see what tyre everyone is on as well. The hard tyre is starting to get a bit more dominant. That's tons of penalties. You have it there. A couple of 3 seconds and down to 10 second to recon. Actually missed what that was issued for. Tess is catching up to the pack of leaders quite quickly, to be fair, on this tyre. Yeah, surely now it's got to be a one-stop strategy for both Matty and Squidge here if everything goes to plan. Squidge is going to have to make the most of this two-stop now because he pit too long to stay out unless we have a safety car could time it perfectly for him. And both the front runners staying out another lap as well. So then, Ondrzej comes into the pit to actually... Oh, he pits quite early. Is he putting on a set of mediums? No, hard tyres on lap 13. I reckon that's just a bit too early for one-stop strategy. Now we're just going to see how much time he's going to be losing on Tess here. Ondrzej is going to be a perfect example of this, and I believe he's just not really committed to one strategy here, Ondrzej. He is coming out a full 7 seconds behind Tess over the last couple of laps. That's how much ground he's lost. Over the last 4 laps, he's lost 7 seconds. So almost 2 seconds per lap is Tess quicker than the medium runners at the moment. Crucial for both Matty and Squidge right now to just get laps under their belt. I'm quite surprised as well that Ray followed Ondrzej into the pit lane this early on. I thought he was going to be doing the same thing as Matty and just covering his bases on a one-stop. Oh, as there goes Matty and Squidge earlier than expected. Are we in one-stop territory now for the pair of them? Hard tyres going on for Matty. Hard tyres going on for Squidge, and Squidge just coming out ahead of Matty there. A slightly better getaway. Mr. Wilco staying out. Is he going to be staying out just a bit longer? Tess then takes the lead of the Grand Prix by a considerable amount. Is Squidge and Matty now going to be able to stay out for the remainder of this race? They better be. 14 laps, we're going to be on 28, we're going to have to do 18, 19 laps these times. They should be able to do that amount if you're just a little bit kind to them. But now, as you can see, Ondrzej pit 1 lap ago, and he's come out 1.2 ahead. That could have been a decent strategy from Ondrzej there, just to create a little bit of breathing room as well, potentially. We'll see if that actually comes to anything. As for Tess, I suggest he gets his hammer down, because he's not going to be able to one-stop this race. So he's going to have to push for the remainder of this Grand Prix. It's already 1.6 behind Mr. Wilco, who is, well, not on paper the leader of the Grand Prix, but has P1 for the time being. As for SFLYJ Marvin, who started on the hard tyres, he's come on to a set of mediums after 14 laps. So that's earlier than expected. And he's not going to be able to one-stop. That's a two-stop, probably soft medium, or sorry, hard medium for J Mar. So he's going to go aggressive towards the end, but it's a lot of time spent in the pit lane for a strategy like that. He's currently down in 10th. Mr. Wilco pits on lap 15 as well. He's going to come out. Oh, he's going to be battling with Makis and Luna by the time he gets out of the pits. The thing with the thing with Mr. Wilco now is got to be very, very careful on these new tyres to not upset them. Hybrid, 10-second time penalty, speeding in the pit lane. Easily done, but not ideal. And Hybrid is retired from this race. So Matti on the back of Squidge, who's very much on the back of Ondracek. They're actually getting a bit of towing aid just behind Djokovic and Tess. This is not helping Tess one bit in his bid to actually get away from the pack behind. Or could Tess miraculously somehow do a very long stint on the hard tyres? Oh, it might just be too long for Tess. See if that tyre has a drop-off curve that we expect. As Ondracek now having a couple of issues, he's lost 2 positions over the course of the last 2 sectors. First to Squidge and then to Matti in the middle of the lap. Has not happened too many times this session so far. So then we're back, just had to make a couple of adjustments. Tess in the lead of the Grand Prix van by 2 seconds from Djokovic, who's on a slightly newer tyre. Then we have Squidge on a significantly newer tyre in P3. Fast lap at the Grand Prix, 17.1. And he is 5 tenths ahead of Matti. Is going to turn into about 5 tenths behind Matti by the time we get out of Tamburello corner. Oh, it's harsh battling between Ray and Jamar there on the cusp of fair. I'm sure that'll be reviewed after the race. There was contact, wasn't clear enough for me to make a decision on it straight away. However, if a position was to be returned, we have someone going slow in sector 2. Don't know who it was. It was Wigan who just had a moment coming out of Tamburello. Sorry, that was sector 1. Ondracek, 3-second time penalty, multiple track limit warnings. That's not ideal for Ondracek. It might have ruined his race a little bit. Crucial now for Matti and Squidge to not pick up any, or they'll give up a lot of advantage to Tess. As thank you very much WHFRO for the raid as well. Hopefully you're enjoying the stream. Thank you very, very much. So then, Squidge 2017 following. There's not really any overtaking drama in this Grand Prix as of the moment. That'll come when we're approaching about lap 30. Unfortunately, see how everyone positions themselves. But right now, this is all about positioning. Coming up to those couple of laps. Tested, how many laps did he do on his medium tyres? 9 laps he did on his mediums. He's done 9 laps on his hards. We expect him to go another 4 or 5 laps maybe before we see Tess into the pit lane, if he's not trying to hold this out for a 1-stop. Matti is getting closer every single lap, but how quickly is he getting closer? The gap right now, 4.7 seconds. Is he getting closer fast enough to actually mount a challenge for the lead at the end of this race? It'll be just on the cusp. Ondracek falling away a little bit here in the second stint, especially with that 3-second down penalty. He pitted 1 lap earlier, and the undercut didn't really work for him. Got overtaken by Matti and Squidge relatively quickly, even though he did have a 1.5 second advantage coming out of the pit stop phase. As for Ray, Jamar, Luna, this battle's ongoing. Jamar on the better tyre, but he needs to get by Ray and Wilco and then stay ahead, which is borderline impossible. You can just see the gap, really. There's 2 packs and Noah in this Grand Prix. There's the top 5 pack, there's Noah, and then there's the pack behind P7. And there's a big gap between the two. Noah right now must feel he's running the most pointless race of all time. But it's not a pointless race. He's picking up quite a handful of them, actually 8 to be precise. That is very, very good for Racing Bull's championship campaign, because they are very much in it. Now we can see the gap that was 4.7, now 3.5 as Tess. Is he coming into the pit lane on this lap? He's staying out for another go at it. But I believe those tyres might just start falling away a little bit while Squidge and Matty still operating at peak performance. 12 laps to go. Oh, and it's going to be very hard for Tess to keep those tyres alive until the end. Question is, if he pits now, does he go into a set of mediums to just try to recover? Does he go into a set of hards? Does it fly? Does it a bit more durable? Does he wait to go on a set of mediums and just push all out over the last couple of laps? And does Matty and Squidge respond, or do they commit to the one-stopper? Noah, 3-second time penalty is not really going to affect him for the time being. As it's a DNF and a DNS then for Red Bull. No points scored in Imola. We'll wait and see next week when we go to Monza, the regular Italian Grand Prix, as to what that outfit can do. Hybrid retiring for unknown reasons in the pit lane earlier here today. Say Beatty is also running a very, very difficult race. Decent qualifying position up at P12, and then just something happened. Here comes Djokovic into the pit lane run, interestingly enough. He should be coming out quite clear of Mr. Wilco, if I'm not mistaken, behind Noah. So this will tell us a little bit as to where Tess would come out. He'd come out 2 seconds ahead. And Tess has now got to be careful if he's going to pit this lap probably, so it doesn't get stuck behind the Williams of Djokovic. Oh, is Djokovic going to come out ahead of Mr. Wilco? That's going to be very, very close. But he is. As there goes Ray, very much past as well, and he would have been slightly tempted to just send one down the inside of Djokovic. But Djokovic we're expecting to breeze away on this outlap. So Tess now in a bit of a compromised position, 2.7 seconds down to Matty and Squidge. That undercut he'd built over 5 laps is disappearing. Is Tess going to try to hold on to this set of hard tyres, or does he respond immediately and try to clear Djokovic and Ray? Djokovic who's now going to be flying, and Ray who might just get the tow along to help him get ahead as well. As there goes Tess then into the pit lane. Matty and Squidge now in the lead of this race. Tess with an alternate strategy. I believe it should be a 1 versus a 2 stopper here in Italy, in Emilia-Romagna. This is going to be very, very interesting. So Tess then, hard tyres, is going to be push like hell for the next 11 laps then for Tess. But those hard tyres seemingly fell off a little bit around lap 11, lap 12. So we'll see what Mattis and Squidge do in a couple of laps' time. Tess has got a lot of ground to make up, but it's not impossible. I cannot stress enough how possible it is to actually make that gap up. We'll bring the leader gap up on the left-hand side of your screen. You can do the maths yourself. 23 seconds is the gap right now, and that is going to be coming down significantly over the next coming laps. The question is, can he be 2 seconds a lap faster? That is what he has to do consistently now. Djokovic now, 3-second time penalty. Doesn't really matter in the context of his race as well. He's clear of Ray. He is behind Tess. I don't think they're battling for position. Noah has a 3-second time penalty. He's 13 seconds off the road, so it could matter when it comes to that. So Noah right now is running in a decent position. His tyres are going to be just on the cusp of making it towards the end here. If they don't, he should probably start considering a pit stop just about now. He is going relatively quickly in this opening sector. The 2 tenths off his previous best. as Jamar right now is running very much on his own accord. He is 23 seconds even behind Recon. But well, let's just say on that medium versus hard tyre, I shouldn't be catching up to him anytime soon. So this could be a lonely entry afternoon for Jamar. Let's see if he can pick up a couple of points here at the end. Expecting pit stops from maybe a couple of guys ahead. Recon probably expecting to see Box again, maybe Luna and Ray as well. Noah, you'd think so. 12 lap old tyres, but around 2 laps older than Mattis and Squidges. As Mattis picked himself up a 3-second time penalty for track limits, as I just completely missed that. That is going to be a massive aid to Tess, if nothing else. And that could have quite severe championship implications. Matty approaching the back of Tess in the championship. Oh, now he's got to have to keep Tess not just at bay behind him, he's got to keep him 3 seconds behind him, unless Tess decides to do a bit of tampering with the track limits. Which at this circuit is less of a choice and more of a happening. But it does absolutely happen to the best of them. The question is, Squidge now, is he just going to be content sitting behind Matty for lap on lap on lap, conserving his tyres and just playing it cool, knowing that that 3-second time penalty is coming into effect? Squidge is fighting for a championship. Now, it doesn't have to be brilliant, it doesn't have to be flashy, but he needs the 25 points week in, week out to secure that title. And you can just see Squidge very much less interested in going side by side with Matty than he was a couple of laps ago. If he can sit comfortably behind him without any chance of reaching track limits, then that's a win for Squidge. Just a little bit of a silly mistake there for Matty. 1 too many times above track limits, but that could just be a result of him having pushed incredibly hard. However, that is going to mean Ondracek is going to want Squidge to pass Matty as soon as possible, because now that battle would be for track position. Test the gap was 23 seconds a couple of laps ago, is now down to 18. He's doing what he has to, but it needs to start happening a bit quicker now. But we are nearing the fall-off point on Matty's and Squidge's hard tyres. Question is, how much does Tess have left when we come up to that stage to attack with? Luna now 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. It's not often we're seeing a lot of people at the front have those penalties and a lot of people towards the rear don't. It's usually a bit of the other way around, but this time if you're pushing for that extra pace, then it's bound to happen, those track limits invalidations. So I'd be very curious to see just how many, for example, Squidge and Tess would have. I was looking back on Jamar, 20.2 seconds behind Recon. If Recon's not pitting, which is not showing any intention of, then this is going to be a sad end to Jamar's afternoon. We went on the alternate strategy, and it just really did not pay off. He's found himself 20 seconds behind on strategy alone, probably, on the one stop, and he's not making that time up. So Mr. Wilco Luna, Recon, who's found a wall, just I'm saying, coming out of Aqua Minerale. Yellow flags is all it's going to take for that one. Yellow flags for Tamburello. There's been an issue, but I believe that sorted itself out. Could that have been... Who could that have been, actually? Would have been a lapped car, I believe. So it would have been maybe the Williams of Wigan? Yeah, it would have. So problem for Recon Van. Front wing end plate gone. That should see him into the pit lane. That should see Jamar up a position and into the points. Iwatts 4.7 seconds behind, seeing that Jamar has that time penalty. Let's go away from this tyre graphic because it's getting a bit old. Let's start looking at penalty graphics because now it's getting closer to start. It's getting close to the time where we start doing the maths on, well, everything. Oh, this is gonna hurt Recon. 10-second time penalty. Same for Jamar. What has Jamar got a 10-second time penalty for? Incidents. Jamar 10-second time penalty. That's severe. Speeding in the pit lane. Oh, yeah, you would imagine speeding in the pit lane, wouldn't you? Speeding in the pit lane. There's a lot of speeding in the pit lane tonight, unfortunately. Yeah, speeding in the pit lane. 10-second time penalty for Jamar then. So track limit validations, I'm not going to look at it too much because it'll take too long. There's quite a lot of them, as you can see in that list. So then, that is basically gifted a point to Iwat, and Mac is contending as well with that 10-second time penalty, but he's not really too close. As Tess now well within tracking distance on Noah. He can't get held up, but even then there's 13 seconds to go up to undercheck. Noah's not going to let this one go without foul, let me tell you that, but Tess will have so much better traction as we're heading into the left hand, and Noah can do nothing but give that up. But 12 seconds within 5 laps is probably going to be too much. Squidge has found himself very content with just sitting behind Matty, waiting for the laps to run down now. So on lap 29 out of 32, Tess gave it a very, very valiant effort. The one stopper probably just a bit too quick here. Now this is coming up the lap. The Aston Martin of Hullman, you can just go straight through. Currently sitting in 15th place. Tess has given it a very, very valiant effort, but he might just finish outside the podium for that effort. If he can't, just bring that gap to undercheck down a lot of seconds now over the last couple of laps. We'll see how hard he is willing to push as well. Noah 2.4 behind, not a threat. 18 lap old hard tires. I reckon Noah might have been better off pitting several laps ago and trying to do what Tess has done to try to come back. He wasn't going to battle. He wasn't going to battle for undercheck's position or Tess' position as well. But Djokovic obviously might have actually been up for grabs had he played all of his cards right. Noah. Then we have Ray 14 seconds behind. Wasn't really ever a threat. Maybe Noah's in a position where he was always going to finish P6 this race. It didn't really matter. 2.5 laps to go then. Matty can't do anything but realize what is coming. Squidge is not going to attempt an overtake. I don't think. Maybe on the final lap. Oh, there's a little moment from Squidge 2017, but coming out of Aqua Mineral in a small locker from Matty, probably trying to push and capitalize a bit on it. But Squidge was always bound to try something like this as soon as he saw Matty with that time penalty, and it's really on Matty to give him the opportunity to as well. We'll see if Squidge decides to overtake him on the last lap or two. I don't think Matt will fight it profusely hard because Undercheck right now behind isn't really a threat either. Tess is actually doing a really good job of closing in that gap, so podium might just be on the cusp if Ondercheck has a bad last 2 laps, so we'll keep an eye on it. 3 seconds is the interval between that gap, 8.2 at the moment, so it needs to be about 2-3 seconds per lap. It's not impossible, but as soon as Matty got that time penalty, the race was basically over. Squidge is not going to be making a mistake in this situation. We have someone off the circuit. I believe that might have been Wigan, a bit further back. Actually, that was Ondercheck who had a massive problem, and that has given Tess a podium as... yeah, that's basically given Tess a free podium there. Ondercheck just being a bit sloppy, unless he can give Tess a 3-second time penalty by just a bit of aggressive driving here. Obviously, you can't give someone a 3-second time penalty, but try to force him into taking one. Or is that going to be settled by the time we get into chicane? Yeah, it is. Tess is going to be finishing on the podium. Here's a valiant effort. Ondercheck, though, throwing it away with a little bit of mistake on that penultimate lap. Here we go, then is Squidge going to try to overtake Matty on the end. Here on the final lap, is Matty going to allow him just let the Ferrari finish ahead of him on track? Matty, who has fought valiantly, it's going to be closing in on Tess in the standings, but Squidge is going to be extending his championship lead for his first win in a little while, and that's going to feel good for him as well to solidify that challenge. Ondercheck has gone back into Tamburello. He's going to be hoping the Tess just makes that slight bit of mistake. The Tess just going to sit behind him now, just waiting for the race to end. Matty Adam fought valiantly. He got a pole position out of nowhere. Was it a little bit of a fluke pole position? Squidge didn't get his final run in. He did invalidate his final lap. So what would have been had Squidge finished it, we'll never know. The rain, what would have been if it did end up falling, we'll never know that as well. Squidge has ran this race very, very well. Well, what's a predicted 2-stopper became a relatively comfortable 1-stopper for the top 3 drivers currently on track, at least. The top 3 in the podium will tell a different tale. Matty Adam will cross the line in first for the 2nd week in a row. It will not be first for the Alpine driver. Squidge 2017 takes the win in Ferrari's home Grand Prix to extend his championship lead. Matty finishes in P2 with Ondercheck. He's going to be crossing the line in 3rd. He's going to be 4th over the line for Tess, 3rd onto the podium to just eliminate a bit of that damage caused by a strategy that ended up being just that bit underwhelming at the end. Ondercheck in 4th, Djokovic in 5th for 10 crucial points for Williams. Noah comes home in P6, which was realistically this race everything that he was able to get out of that RB. Mr. Wilco finishes in P7, a decent result from 5th on the grid, with Ray taking home 4 crucial points for Alpine in 8th. Luna finishes the race in 9th, and in the points, we'll see if it remains that way, as Iwas will come across the line. Yeah, it will remain that way, as Iwas comes across the line a lot later in P10 for the last points paying position. The alternate strategy for Jamar did not work, starting on the hard tires, and then the mediums didn't quite work. Very, very interesting race this indeed. It's not the best for side-by-side action, let's just say that. Iwas bringing home a point, Ray bringing home a point in the championship fight. Jama just missing out for Ferrari there, and that could be the difference by the time we get to the end of the season. Squidge 2017 then. Victor once again in NEF1. I believe it might be 6th or 7th of the season. And with that win, the championship just gets that much closer to coming to Ferrari for the first time since season 1 in NEF1. We're in for a very interesting last 7 races of this season, let me tell you that. Squidge fan has an advantage of about a race win in the championship, if I'm not mistaken. He wins the Imola Grand Prix by a second and a half thereabout over Matty Adam and Tess in P3. Onacek in fourth, Djokovic in fifth for an interesting race. Noah, sixth place. Wilco in seventh, doing a good job in that Haas for his first good points finish in a while. Then we have Ray, Luna, and Iwat making up the points finishes. Hybrid, Recon, Darren, Holman, Wigan, Marcus, Jamar, and a BT all finishing outside the points. BT not too bad of a race, but just compromised on that start. Next races coming up then are going to be very interesting and very, very different. Italy, next week out on August 25th for the Italian Grand Prix around Monza. Then we're heading to Qatar on September 1st, Japan on September 8th, and Singapore on September 15th for a mandatory two-stop race. Qatar also a mandatory two-stop race. Before we go into Texas on the 22nd of September, Brazil on the 29th, and the United Arab Emirates on October 6th to see out this season. The championship is coming to a close, slowly but surely. 7 weeks to go in this championship fight. We will see you next week out in Italy when NEF1 returns. Until then, thank you very much for watching. As usual, stay safe, have a good one. Congratulations to Squidge, Matty, and Tess once again. Have a good one, and peace out.